In this video, I'm going to show you how to change out the transfer case fluid in a ZF9 equipped Honda. Actually, it's a really easy job, so you could probably watch this video and apply it to whatever vehicle you have, just as long as you follow manufacturer's specifications. Also, I'm going to talk about what I think you could do to make your transfer case last as long as possible. So without further ado, let's get started. First up, you'll need Hypoid Gear Oil HGO-1. This job requires just under half a quart. To be exact, it's 0.45 liters. This ends up being $10 worth of fluid, so I highly recommend you try to take on this job yourself rather than using a dealership. Next, you'll need a fluid quart pump. This ended up being $10 on Amazon. Just screw it into this quart bottle and pump away. These are reusable, so they're totally worth the money. Next up, you'll need two 20mm crush washers. One for the fill plug and one for the drain plug. Links for all these items will be in the video description below. And then the final thing is going to be a 3/8 drive. So you'll either use a breaker bar, or in my case, I'm using a telescoping ratchet wrench. You're going to need a 1.5 to 3 inch extension. This is required. Without one, parts of the transfer case will get in your way, and if it's too long, you're going to have parts getting in your way also. So it has to be a shorter extension, like about 2.5 to 3 inches.
Alright, so here is the passport. This is the transfer case right here. And this is the transmission. That is the ZF9. So we're going to be working on this unit right here. So let's go ahead and open up the fill plug, which is going to be at the top. The drain plug is going to be down here at the bottom, okay?
Very, very important. Make sure you open up the fill plug before draining. Otherwise, there will be a crazy amount of suction and you won't be able to get the fill plug open. So remember, fill plug first, then drain plug second. Now we're going to take a 3/8 drive and stick it into the plugs to loosen them. I know people that haven't done this before are probably thinking, well, what socket do I use? It's actually this 3/8 drive. You just stick it right into the plug.
Without any extensions, I can't get, I could insert this into the 3/8 plug, but I won't have any travel to actually loosen the plug. And then if I use something that is too long, now this gets in the way right here. So you want to use an extension that is a bit shorter, right? Something that isn't, this looks like what, like a 5-inch right here. This one's like a, I don't know, what, 1.5 inches or so. So this is the perfect size. I'm going to insert. All right, it's inserted. And now I am going to loosen this. This is the fill plug, so there you go, it's broke. After you break it, you can use your hand to take out the plug. Now, I'll be right back. I'm going to just get some absorbent mats.
At this point, you'll want a drain pan handy.
Okay, so fill plug is out. And then there's going to be a crush washer. So the crush washer didn't fall out with this. I see it right here. Just going to grab that crush washer. So this looks like an 18mm crush washer. The next step is to open up the drain plug. Okay, so that's broken. Now I could loosen it by hand. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to capture as much of it as possible in this clear water bottle, because I want to inspect the fluid. So I'm going to put this down here. Got a drain pan right there. Oh, it's actually pretty clear. Okay. Guess it'll just burn up top. Yeah, it looks really clear, but let's get the whole story once this is all drained into this bottle. So bit windy today. I think we got enough of it. I'm just gonna let this drain into the big pan, and let's go take a look at this fluid. Okay, it's clear. Looks like there are some metallic pieces in there.
Those are not metallic pieces or shavings. I asked an expert, and their explanation was that when this Hypoid Gear Oil gets exposed to heat, this is how the fluid looks. Now keep in mind, this is the fluid at 7,000 miles. Now take a look how the fluid looks at 15,000 miles. I bought one of these snazzy magnetic drain plugs, and it wasn't picking anything up. So there's no metal getting shaved into this fluid. Wait until 30,000 miles or beyond, and you might be sorry. It's like the Terminator 2-1000 staring back at you. Scary stuff. I still need to finish the instructions on how to change out your transfer case fluid, so we'll talk more about how I think you could prolong the life of your transfer case by doing more drain and fills. That will be at the later part of this video. So now that the transfer case fluid has drained out into the oil pan, we are now going to install the 20mm crush washers. These things are going to act as a gasket. They're one-time use, so every time you change out your transfer case fluid, you'll want new crush washers. Before we put the new fluid in, obviously we're going to have to put the drain plug in and tighten it down to spec, which is 35 foot-pound. I'm really dumbing down these instructions because I myself am not super mechanically inclined, and I know people watching this video are probably in the same boat, because if you're a mechanic, you shouldn't have to watch these videos, right? If you're someone that just got into overlanding, then knowing how to turn your own wrenches will come in real handy, especially if you have trail trouble and if you need to repair something. I didn't know how to do any of this stuff prior to getting into overlanding. One thing that this activity will teach you is self-reliance.
Okay, so just like that. All right, now fill plug. We're gonna pump in some of this stuff right up here. My YouTube colleague Brucey, I guess some fluid have these like squeeze bottles, kind of like toothpaste, and so those are kind of neat.
Oh, that's lovely. And there we go. It's leaking out the top, and it's done. So I definitely recommend getting one of these flex bags. You can get whatever brand you want, but that is so easy.
I don't know if Honda has this stuff in a toothpaste squeeze bottle, so because they don't, we're just gonna go ahead and use this cork pump. Link will be in the description below. And we're just gonna go ahead and pump it up until you see how clear that fluid is. We're gonna pump it up until it leaks out a little bit. It'll just be about half a quart, so we could see right here how much fluid we have left. Getting close. There it goes. All right, we're done. We're done. We're gonna take this fill plug and discard of the crush washer. And clean this up. Should also, kind of clean the surrounding areas where these connect to, but they're pretty darn clean. Not a problem We don't want dirt up in there. Alright, don't forget your crush washer. And then we're going to put this in. Totally, actually you probably want to overfill these things, like dripping like that. That goes for both rear diff and this transfer case. It's good right there. All right, done.
So actually there's one step that I missed. It's not super duper important, but before tightening the fill plug, you'll want to turn the car's engine on so that you can let all the fluids recirculate. This will bleed air out, and it's recommended, it's common knowledge, but it won't be the end of the world if you miss a step. And anyways, congratulations, you are now done. If you only watch this video for instructions on how to change out your transfer case, I think it's time to go. But if you want to learn about why I think doing more frequent drain and fills will prolong the life of your transfer case, then please keep watching. So Honda does not have a severe duty schedule for the transmission and the transfer case. You typically just change out the fluids at 30,000 miles. There is a schedule to replace other things a lot sooner than normal based off of quote-unquote severe duty. Like, for example, your cabin filter, if you're driving in dusty conditions. You change out your timing belt if you drive in extremely hot or cold conditions. And then also your differential fluid. You change it much quicker if you drive in slow, mountainous driving. I've been keeping tabs on engine oil, rear differential fluid, transmission fluid, and transfer case fluid. Out of all four, the transfer case fluid definitely is much more worn out compared to the other fluids. In my opinion, you definitely need to concentrate on your transfer case fluid, especially if you drive spirited and if you take your vehicle on adventures. In my opinion, I think, with the transmission getting hot, with the catalytic converter getting hot, there's a lot of heat soak that goes into the transfer case. So definitely drain and fill it every 15,000 miles along with your rear differential. It's really easy. It costs you $10. There's no reason to not do it. So in case you're wondering, my transfer case failed at 80,000 miles. And I let you all know right when it happened, actually less than a week when it happened, but not many of you watched the video. So I went down a rabbit hole researching transfer cases and why they fail, and found out that Ford has a lot of issues. The Ford Explorer, at first, they didn't even put a drain plug in the thing. So they would have to suck the fluid from the fill plug, which is crazy. The current Fords now have drain plugs on their all-wheel drive PTUs, or transfer cases. Now, I'm not the only one that has had a failed transfer case. Sean Watson from Colorado Mall Crawlers said his transfer case failed at 80,000 miles. Hey, that's the same as me, actually. So I'm hearing a lot about transfer cases going, and could there be something done about it? In my opinion, I think changing the fluids more frequently will definitely increase the life. So I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, it's because you're taking on-road biased vehicles off-road. And you know what? Vehicles that are on-road, that are just driven spirited, have transfer cases that fail too. And so this is Sandman's Garage. I got permission to use some of his footage. Here's a Honda Pilot that has never been taken off-road, but it has 53,000 miles, and most likely the transfer case fluid was never changed out. And so I'm going to repeat it for the back. Basically what happens is the fluid becomes compromised, metal shavings enter the fluid, and now it becomes liquid sandpaper, and it gets into the bearings and the gears, and it just totally messes the thing up. So the transfer case isn't going to just die instantly. It's going to be several miles or hundreds or even thousands of miles before the transfer case will eventually fail. But when it does fail, it's going to be catastrophic, and it'll explode and possibly take out the engine and the transmission and all sorts of other things. Probably cause a really bad accident on the freeway. Listen to how my failing transfer case sounds. I was able to drive about 500 miles on it before I finally took it into Honda. Honda did cover the warranty repair. At this point, I had 80,000 miles, but because I purchased the extended warranty, they covered it. So in case you're wondering, do modifications affect your warranty? They could. It depends on the dealer. But also, I think if you purchased extra extended warranty, then they would be more inclined to take care of a warranty repair. I don't want to go into too much detail about the previous vehicle I owned, a 2015 Subaru Forester XT, had a lot of major repairs needed, and at 60,000 miles, the transmission failed. So that's why I purchased the extended warranty. So back over to this Honda, in 110,000 miles, a failed transfer case is the only issue I have had. And in my opinion, it could have been prevented. If I would have changed out my fluid every 15,000 miles, the transfer case would probably still be around. If your transfer case is failing and it's not covered under warranty, you could always try to change it yourself. I personally have not needed to change it myself, but friends say that it's a really easy job on Hondas, on old ones and new ones. Basically, you just have to drop the drive shaft and then unbolt the transfer case, unplug it from the sensor hose, and then just put the new one back in, bolt it back up, and then reinstall the drive shaft. The complexity of the installation, it seems like it would be similar to like changing out an alternator. You could buy a used one at a pick-apart for about $200, or you could buy it brand spanking new for $1,300 or so. The only YouTube video I could find about changing out the transfer case on a ZF9 equipped Honda is Sandman's Garage. So thank you very much for posting this up. I'm sure it's going to be very helpful for people that have run into this unfortunate predicament and need to change out their transfer case. So make sure to watch his video. He details a lot of the replacement. So anyways, that's about it for this video. I hope it illustrates the importance of fluid change. Change out those fluids sooner rather than later. So I really hope you could make your vehicle last. And I genuinely do. I actually made a video about the Subaru CVT and how I think you could make it last. And that was the main thing, was monitoring transmission temperatures and changing out fluids, doing drain and fills frequently. There's weird rumors out there that, oh, you know what, my transmission has high temp fluid and I could run 270 Fahrenheit with no problem. If you listen to that guy and your transmission blows up, is he going to pay for it? No. So anyways, play it safe. Do more research. Do the research and you'll find that that is completely false. So anyways, that does it for this episode. I hope to catch you on the next one. Hope your vehicle lasts and have fun on your adventures.